Introverts, how did you meet your girlfriend? My wife and I are both introverts. I was the IT guy and she was a sales girl. We started to click at work and one day she asked if I did any work on people's home computers. I said that I work for pizza. She invited me over the next night and I brought the pizza. She has protected my heart every day since. I was at the mall with my family and we walked into a shoe store where she happened to be working. It was obvious we were checking each other out, but I left and nothing happened. 2 to 3 weeks later we matched on Tinder and she messaged me, "Hey, this might sound weird but I think you came into my work a few weeks ago at _ shoe store." For the next 6 months or so we would talk on and off, obviously flirting. For some reason we never tried to take it further, until one day I got a Twitter DM from her, "So are we ever gonna like fuck?" That turned into my first love. We've only been together 6 months but neither of us see it ending soon, or ever for that matter. Found out my crush was part of the Glee Club. So I joined despite being incredibly self-consciously and anxious. During a Christmas show in our local mall the night before holiday break, she said she wanted to give me something. She gave me a kiss and now we've been going strong for 3 years now. OkCupid.com. Our 2-year wedding anniversary is in August and our son is 2 months old today. Really, online is the way to go. If you do, pick a site that goes in depth. On OkCupid this means answering a ton of questions so they have more data when calculating who's a good match for you. This means that you're far more likely to meet someone you're compatible with when it comes to relationship goals, interests, and values. She was on a blind date with someone else when our group of friends went out, and I didn't figure that out till months later, despite the retrospectively obvious signs. That was 2002, and we are still married. The girlfriend of a longtime friend spent about 2 years trying to set me up with her best friend. When she and my friend got married, she used that chance to force us to meet. A couple weeks later we were playing online games together and discovered we really enjoyed each other's company. Not long after that, we were alternating visiting each other every weekend. I'm locked to my city due to work, but once she found out she had the option to work from home, she decided to move to my city to save both of you several hours of traveling each week. We are currently living together and more in love every day. My friend's wife is very proud of her work. Met my husband while I was waitressing when I was 19. I am socially awkward and had talking points set up for each table/situation to get through my shifts and make money. I was also incredibly sheltered growing up. The entire exchange was me nervously asking questions and hiding that my hand was shaking because I thought he was so cute. All he said was Long Island iced tea cheeseburger med-rare and yes/no please. 2 days later our mutual friends set us up on a date after talking to us and each other and realizing we both were weirdly intrigued by the other. Been together almost 5 years. Tinder. Me, do you have like magic tricks? Of course. Me, what is your favorite month of the year? August. Me, what is your favorite time of the day? 5 p.m. home time. Me, well, take the first 5 digits of your cell phone number and multiply it by 8. Your favorite month, and tell me what the result is. Some number. Me, now take the last 5 digits of your phone number and multiply it by 5. Your favorite time of the day. Some number. Then I divided the numbers back to get her phone number, IM'd her and told her not to give out her number to strangers. Even magical ones. Voila. A little late to the game, but I met her way back in the days before Facebook, Twitter or even MySpace. I met her in a random teenager-focused chatroom on IRC. She and I were the only 2 people that lived in my state, so we decided to finally meet. This was a time when your parents warned you about internet strangers, so it was a big risk for both of us. She invited me down to her town and we met, but nothing really sparked. We maintained our friendship throughout the years. We would pop in and out of each other's lives, flirting immensely with each other without a care in the world when we could. We were always there for each other through the good and the bad. One night, I invited her out to a get-together with a bunch of my friends in my city. She booked a hotel room because we were going to be drinking that night. After everyone split, I said my goodbyes and started walking to the light rail to get back to my car. She invited me up to her room and I said to myself, okay. I'm too drunk anyway. That was 3.5 years ago. I took her to the Sequoia National Park for our 3-year anniversary last year and asked her to marry me. She said yes. Removed. Met her on the first day of college during this induction period thing where we had to go around and speak to every person in the class individually, almost like speed dating funnily enough. I remember counting the people ahead of me so I knew how long I'd have to wait until I got to talk to her, but as soon as she approached me she just blurted out "I love your shirt" because she also liked the band whose merch I was wearing. We hit it off immediately and we've been together for about 8 months. I hide behind humor, so I made a snide comment in English 101. The girl I was sitting next to laughed politely, and after class asked if I wanted to go for a walk. We went back to her dorm room. 5 years later, I married her roommate. ITT, you guys are way too adorable. She told me I had a lot of back hair and that it was coming out of the back of my shirt. That was nearly 6 years ago now. I met my BF of 6 years on POF lol. No longer with him though. I'm a line cook, she is a waitress. After work one night, I finally mustered up the courage to ask her out. 2 years later and we are getting married. I, strong extrovert, introduced myself to my, now, introvert boyfriend at least 3 separate times the first week of college. I'm about to give up on this dude, but then out of nowhere he just starts up a conversation with me. He still claims that it was the first time he saw me, and how I stuck out so much in his mind that day and he thought I was just so cute. I was like, where were you the first 3 times I introduced myself? In his own head I guess. Or maybe I just looked ugly those days, who knows. Either way, 1 year as close friends and 3 years of dating now, so things worked out well obviously. Edit, a word. She had been, and still is, part of my old high school friends gaming group for the past 2 years, her having met them all at the local college they all went to. I was the only one of my friends to leave town for college, so when I came back, she was a closer friend to all of my high school buds than I was. It was quite surreal, and still is. They talked me into doing a one-shot D&D campaign with them all, and while I learned that D&D with my friends probably wasn't going to be something I continued due to their years of building cohesion and inside jokes as a group, I also learned my friends had been hanging out with the coolest, prettiest girl I've ever met. Months of short, awkward interactions ensued until finally one of my friends conned me into going to the movies with her, story for another time, perhaps. We met up at a bar and talked for so long that we missed the movie. Been together ever since. Don't get discouraged friends, he is out there. I was a freshman in college, I decided to live in the dorms with a good friend from high school. There is a really cute redhead that lives right next to us. I could tell that she was into my roommate and not very into me, though. The 3 of us start hanging out frequently. One night, the 3 of us are hanging in her room playing Never Have I Ever. It gets late and my roommate leaves, so it's just her and me. In the most awkward spectacle of non-sentences abundant with nervous huffs and longing sighs, I profess my attraction to her, and she buys it. I later learned that she was on the rebound from her recent long-distance induced breakup with her HSBF. But, we've been together almost 4 years, and I'm proposing next month. Probably too late for this post, but she was working at a booth at PAX and was taking to random strangers, one of which was me. We chatted for a while and I came back at the end and we chatted and exchanged Facebooks. Grindr, yes, both dudes. We're both kind of introverted but he is much more than me. I said hi to him on Grindr and we started talking and we met up about a week later for dinner and he was great in person. He told me about 1 year in that he thought I was way out of his league and that's why he didn't hit on me first. Probably the sweetest thing anyone has ever told me. It's been almost 3 years and he still makes me laugh like no one else. What's a girlfriend? Through Tinder, I'm slightly more adventurous than her, and the funny thing is I was in an area where there was known drug cartel activity and my thoughts going to pick her up for the first time were I'm literally going to die. Then she had thought the same thing, but her depression and logic made it so she didn't care, and my friends always nag me for being sheltered and unwilling to take some fun risks. 3 years later she and I are married and I still feel the same was as when I first met her. I had just done a heavy set of deadlifts and was lying on the floor trying to catch my breath. She walked by on her way to a set of squats and gave me a fist bump. Love at first sight.